So, what we're going to do is talk to you about a model that we co-created. And the model is called the Today model, which stands for Time, Ownership, Diagnostics, Actions, and You. And if you look on the last1000days.com website, you'll see a bit more about it. And without any shame, we've got a Facebook page which we'd encourage you to join and participate, called The Last 1000 Days. But when you consider it, time actually is the key currency of healthcare. And it's the most important currency. It's how do we maximize time? How do we reduce the wasted time of our patients? How do we prioritize that time? And the currency of healthcare is time. If you think about it, access targets, they are about time. The 4-hour waits for ED, the cancer waits, all the waits, they're all about time. You look at harm. Harm is frequently caused as a consequence of time ill spent in hospitals. And the reason in many respects is because beds are not capacity. Beds are simply the place, as Ian Sturgis rightly has pointed out, beds are simply a place where people wait for things to happen. DNAs represent lost time because you can't carry an outpatient slot over into next week. And even on the day patients go home, time gets lost. Because of ward rounds, they wait for ward rounds, they wait for discharge paperwork, they wait for TTOs, and even wait for surprised relatives to pick them up. What, you mean to go home? Well, nobody told me. I thought we were going home whenever, And it's not because of bad people. It's easy to say, because they're waiting for TTOs or they're waiting for discharge paperwork. We have designed our health systems to create the waits they've got. We have designed it to have people waiting in an emergency department. We have designed it to have people waiting to be assessed and waiting to be seen and waiting to go home. Those are inbuilt designs. That's why I'm such a great fan of Red to Green, because what they do is they help us to identify the needless wastes that there are in the health system. Looking for equipment. That's often about time, because do you notice our equipment has a habit, like OBS machines, they have a habit of huddling together like survivors on the Titanic. Just kind of, there's two of them, I was looking for them. Travel around like buses, waiting for people to call back, or even pointless meetings. Wouldn't it be great to say, I'm off to a pointful meeting now? But even 70% of the NHS budget is spent on time. What we call it, our salaries and wages, which represent the purchase of our time. And it seems to me that while we're busy and our time is important, our patients' time is sacred. But it seems to me axiomatic that in order to value patients' time, what we must also do is value staff time as well. Because it is the opposite side of patient time, is valuing that staff time and complementing staff time so staff don't spend needless time. And what you look towards in having identified time is looking towards ownership. How do you get to take responsibility once you've got it? How do you influence others to gain support? And how do you get ownership of the last 1000 days? Sometimes these things just pop up, completely formed in your head, these constructs. And I was talking about that if you are a woman, you can expect to live to 83. If you're a woman, you can expect to live to 83. And if you're a man, you can expect to live to the age of 79. But supposing you're an 80-year-old woman or a 76-year-old man, what have you got left? Well, what you have is 1,000 days. If you look around our hospitals, what are they full of? What they're often full of is people in their last 1,000 days. And every day somebody waits longer than they must in our system is stealing their time. Every hour they wait to get home to their home is stealing their time. So to my mind, the last 1,000 days is about a moral purpose for better. And the framing of it through the operationalization of it through the likes of Red to Green, Safer, and also EndPJparalysis is how we bring it to life. Because if the why is about valuing patient time and the how is about Safer and Red to Green and EndPJparalysis, the what will be about how do we make it better? How do we start to live and deliver the kind of care that we want to deliver so that there's no needless waits? But what it's also about is recognizing that any time any of us might be in our own last 1,000 days. And what I'd like to show you now is a video that captures that.
The day's almost over, the sky's about to show her the first glimpse of gold over waking up dreams. The thing is, I don't know why things that I felt so concerned with just let go, drift with the breeze. I've been running around looking for answers, and all of these days there still ain't enough. Like the moonlit late plains, let the questions just hang. All I need is time with your love. I've been running around looking for answers, and all of these days there still ain't enough. There ain't enough. Time with you, love. There ain't enough.
Filmed in part at Nottingham University Hospitals, and thanks to Anne-Marie Riley and Laura Scaife there for enabling us to do that. But what it does is it captures the fact that none of us know when our last 1,000 days will start. And you'll have seen those 3 teenagers and one of them in the middle with 1,000 days. And he represents my best friend Mark, who died on the 26th of February. And when we were that age, when there was me and Mark and Noreen, laughing and joking with those years and years ahead of us, we weren't to know that he would get there first, that his day would come sooner than ours. Or the middle-aged woman sitting in the car, probably processing some really tough news where she has to go back and perhaps talk to her family about something she's now got to deal with the love and attention of her family. So what it's about is valuing life and celebrating and living, not for sorting things out tomorrow, but actually just grabbing stuff today and remembering that perfect is the enemy of better. So if we start, we will make it better by just starting. And where did EndPJparalysis start? Well, actually, it's a tweet which said, nursing was born in the church and raised in the army, and we put patients in uniforms, called the pajamas. But where it led to is, we need to do something about it. We need to get people up and out and moving out their pajamas. Because what do we do to people? We put them in a gown. And what is the gown? The gown is you're at hospital because something's wrong with you. And then they put you in the most vulnerable garment ever invented to make the whole experience that much worse. And have you ever wondered why it's called ICU? Well, now you know. And I was in Harlow, thanks to Helen Bennett and Pete and that the other day before yesterday I think it was. And Professor Nancy Fontaine, who is an extraordinary nursing leader, and we know each other from our emergency nursing days. And what she said is, do you know what, why don't we go and aim for, in fact we will deliver, a no-gown hospital, starting in elder care and working outwards. Why wouldn't you? Why not dream out loud at high volume? And don't wait for perfect. Don't wait for a big project plan. Just start and get going. And when you start things and they start to explode as they do, you see this, the great work of Peter Kennell in Northampton. Pajamas say you're unwell, but clothes say you're getting better. Because what that does is when you have somebody in their clothes, you start to avoid cognitive bias. Because as a clinician, you see a person up and dressed and think, actually, they're not looking too badly. Maybe they could go home today. The relatives say, gosh, you're looking great, ma'am. How are you doing? You look really looking good. And the patient thinks, you know what? I don't look too bad at all. And maybe I could get out sooner. Because it avoids that cognitive bias. And a good friend of mine, she often says, no woman wants to be seen in hospital by her friends and her family when she's not even wearing lippy and a bra. Because what it's about is offering dignity and compassion and choice. It's not about pushing everyone out, but it's about enabling those who can to do so. Then you get folk like this. Chloe Harris is a 21-year-old new graduate physio and started getting them up in pajamas. I think she started that one down in Salisbury, where they all started to get into their pajamas. If you've been wondering where Wally's been all these years, now here you found him. I love this picture here where you've got the woman right in front and centre, and the staff are having fun, because actually that's an important bit of all of this. It's about bringing joy back, having the crack again, not the Irish variety, just for the record. Just giving people an opportunity to celebrate, because the other thing is, didn't we get the work done anyway? And when we were enjoying work, weren't our patients enjoying us enjoying work? And without any apology, one of the unintended benefits of EndPJ paralysis and Last 1,000 Days and Red to Green is people are starting to find the joy, having the fun again. And that's really, really important, because it's not they who stop us from doing stuff. It's not the CEO, the director of nursing, the COO. It's not they. Actually, often it's ourselves. It's certainly not health and safety. And leadership, where that starts, is from within. And Pete is absolutely right, the comment he made about Henry Ford. Whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right. And healthcare, it is maybe one health system, but it's 1,000 different villages. Do you remember when we were all baby clinicians, you'd be on a placement, and you might go from one placement to another placement on a different ward. They might be only 20 metres away, and somehow you'd move to a whole different country. Because the culture and the microcultures are a very important feature of health. And when you're looking to create change, you can only do so one heart and one mind at a time. Because first people change, and then organisations change. And this is Dabalina McGrogan, who's an OT, fabulous woman. She's the ward manager of Ward B49 in Nottingham. And great leadership liberates compassion and kindness. And I love the fact that, you walk into this community ward, Dabalina's ward, and it says, our team want to maintain a normal routine for all our patients, which includes them getting up, dressed and moving about, as this supports a speedier recovery. And this is Aileen Horgan in Cork University Hospital. I saw her a couple of months ago, and she's a new ward sister, the clinical nurse manager there. And Aileen had 2 patients, both of whom had dementia, both of them waiting to go to a care home. And they got them up, got them dressed, got them moving, and instead of going to a home, they went back in time to their home. And because their cognitive and their physical function improved, and they felt, actually, maybe we can get back to where we're from, which is the home we started in. And could you imagine what it would be like if we amplified that all across the NHS, where you wouldn't have people with a delayed transfer of care, which are kind of weasel words, but nowhere as offensive as the term bed blocking. It's a terrible, terrible offensive term to blame patients for being in a place that they don't want to be, because what we do is we keep them waiting. And in case you don't think I'm committed to the cause, there you go. This is our cunning plan for EndPJ paralysis. There's no KPIs. There are no project plans. There's no Gantt chart. So I tell you what there is, though, is a lot of trust. It's about trusting people to do the right thing. It's about liberating the talents that exist in each of those villages to do the right thing. And it's all in the framing. It's all in the framing, because, it's how we see the world. 3 men, they're all laying bricks. And the first man's asking, what are you doing? And he says, all I'm doing is I'm just laying these darn bricks. And the second man is asked, what are you doing? And he says, what I'm doing is I'm feeding my family. And the third man is asked, what are you doing? And he says, I am part of a team building a cathedral so that people can come and worship their God and feel at peace. So what we bring to work each day is ourselves, but we also bring our attitude, and that is a choice. And it seems to me what the Red to Green, EndPJ paralysis, safer, Last 1,000 Days, what it's about is creating us all as social millionaires. It's about each day we undertake 1 million acts of kindness. And in doing so, we do so to value patient time. We do so that we have no red days. We do so that enable our patients to have their dignity, autonomy, or choice, their freedoms. And in doing so, we also remind ourselves why we came into healthcare. Because it is about, as we humanize people away from being patients to people with a backstory, what we do is humanize ourselves.